People are always very surprised to find out that I like hiking and camping. Something about my personality clearly doesn't give nature girl, and the truth is I probably wouldn't like camping if it weren't for my sleepaway camp experience growing up. I went to camp in Michigan, the one that my mom went to, and for both of us and the rest of my family that also went there, it's a magical place full of life-changing experiences. And when I say sleepaway camp, I don't mean one of those bougie ones with fancy things like air-conditioned cabins and visiting days and toilets that flush. My camp was on a lake, but a super gross lake with weird fish and snapping turtles. Our cabins, though apparently redone since I was a camper, were covered with suggestive graffiti dating back to the 90s. It was much more rugged than a lot of the sleepaway camps that people are familiar with, but I wouldn't have traded it for the world. Every day was extraordinary, and it absolutely shaped me into the person that I am today. One of the main things that made our camp more rugged were the mandatory overnight backpacking trips to northern Michigan. While some aspects of it could be fun, most campers and counselors dreaded these. There were no showers, and the tents smelled like the musk of 40 years of people who haven't showered. And when it rained, it was miserable. But there were good moments too. Swimming in crystal clear water, the crystal clear water of Lake Superior, and making mac and cheese over the fire. The summer before I started college, I decided to work as a counselor. I was really nervous because this was the first summer that I'd be at camp without my best friend, Melissa. Going to camp without her felt like a big risk for me. As a camper, we were certainly the weird kids, so much so that we were attached at the hip every summer, and one year our paper plate awards were thing 1 and thing 2. But camp had such a profound impact on my life, and I knew that I would regret it forever if I didn't come back to have the experience of being a counselor for at least one summer. So this was how I found myself, at the ripe age of 18, not even having started my freshman year at Northwestern, with the full responsibility for the lives of 12 middle school girls. Middle school girls are the scariest human beings on the planet.
I can agree with that.
I was scared of them when I was one, and I'm scared of them now. At 18, I wasn't even qualified to be taking care of myself, let alone other human beings who were relying on me for their health and well-being. I had to carry around their EpiPens with me, and they were allergic to everything. Horses, red dye, gluten. I was so terrified of one of them going into anaphylactic shock because I was not prepared to stab them with a needle. Did anyone teach me how to do that? No. Being a counselor was exhausting. I was truly thrown into the deep end of that lake, snapping turtles and all. As one of my cousins put it, it's like pulling back the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. I had 12 kids, and of course it was impossible for all of them to be happy at the same time. Something was always wrong. One of them was injured, one was sick, one wet the bed, one was in a fight with another, one was bullying another, one refused to eat, one got her first period, one ran away and had the whole camp looking for her. I felt like Octomom. I just wanted to get them through the summer alive and hopefully have them like me. That was also important. Anyways, being a counselor meant that I, of course, led one of the dreaded overnight camping trips. Obviously, taking this parenting situation into the wilderness was an ideal scenario. Kids had the option to pick between hiking or canoeing, and I was assigned to canoeing. So this is how I found myself canoeing down a river in Michigan with 3 tweens who were basically dead weight. They were barely paddling, so it was really me and 3 times my weight. These noodle arms were not built for that. There were maybe 3 or 4 canoes on our trip, and we were always in dead last. It's drizzling, it's wet, and they will not stop complaining. I mean, we're on the river for hours together. I don't know what else to tell them except that we have no other choice but to keep going until we make it to the campsite. There was literally no other option. You cannot go backwards. I was trying to keep them occupied by singing Disney songs and High School Musical. Finally, we are blessed with the angelic view of our campsite around the bend. After 4 days, I've never been so happy to see what's basically a pile of mud. We've been on this river for days. One more night before I can finally shower off the layers of dirt and sweat that I've accumulated. We paddle up to where it's shallow, and then we all hop in the water in our water shoes and pull the canoe up the shore. We did it. We're done. Just one more night on the river bend, and the bus is going to pick us up tomorrow morning. The kids are alive, no one went into anaphylactic shock, and I'm looking forward to a nice warm bowl of tripper stew, which is a genuinely good concoction of beans, veggies, and potato chips. We haul that big hunk of metal onto the shore. One of my kids plops down and starts buckling her water shoes. And there they were, writhing in between her toes, leeches. Have you ever seen a leech? You know those movies where there's a dying Victorian woman and a creepy-ass doctor puts leeches on her to suck the blood out as a medical procedure? Actually, yes, they did look exactly like that. I don't believe in God, but there's definitely a reason that God decided that those things belonged at the bottom of the river where no one would ever see them. They're ugly. I had absolutely no idea what to do. The only leeches I had ever come across are those people who, like, you're not friends with, but like sometimes they glom onto you at a social event. I was not trained for this. Out of all the things I had dealt with this summer, this was one thing that I had not anticipated. Because why would you? I thought I had a better chance of being haunted by the camp ghost than coming face to face with this. Do you know how to get rid of leeches? Neither did I. You can't just shake them off or pull them off because apparently their heads can get stuck in you. They are literally attached to you, sucking blood from your body. Thank my non-existent God that another counselor knew what to do. You have to pour salt on them, which kills them somehow, and then wait for them to fall off on their own. So we have this 12-year-old girl who, for her part, was handling this really well. If it were me, with those slimy things writhing in between my toes, I would have been absolutely unhinged. But we keep calm and do just that. Sit her down, pour salt all over her feet, holding her hand until the leeches fall off and die. So you might be asking yourself, Lauren, what did you learn from this experience? Well, I learned a lot of things. How to stab children, what kind of treat is safe for all allergies, hint, it is vanilla ice, how to portage a canoe with no help. But most importantly, I learned the proper way to remove a leech. A skill that I hope I will never need to put to use ever again as long as I live. I now pass this wisdom on to you. If you leave this theater tonight with anything, let it be this. Salt on a wound will hurt, but salt on a leech will save your life. Thank you.